Hi guys, I'm Laura Vitale, and on this episode of Laura in the Kitchen, I want to show you an updated version of chicken Francese. We have not made this here on Laura in the Kitchen in probably over a decade. I love this. I feel like it's very underrated. Everyone knows a piccata. Everybody loves a piccata, but then the Francese is like its cousin, but then like no one really talks about it. You can make this exact same recipe with fish. So say you have like a few fillets of flounder or really nice fish, you can absolutely make the exact same recipe, exact same method with fish, and it is just as divine. The first things first is getting your chicken prepped. And I wanted to show you this because I feel like it's helpful to see. You want your chicken breast to be same thickness, about, some would say it's about 6 ounces a piece. And usually chicken breast, if you buy thinly sliced chicken breast, it's usually like this. It's kind of uneven. It's too thick on one side. So here's all you do. You take the piece of chicken breast. I do it between parchment paper. I find it so much easier to deal with than plastic wrap, but you can use either. A meat mallet if you have it. If you don't, you got a skillet, and I think that actually works best because it's got a nice wide flat surface, and then you just whack it until it's pounded thinner. It just takes a few tries, a few little bangs, and watch the difference. Look at the difference, okay? Now it's a nice, thin, even layer, and it's gonna cook evenly and perfect, and you didn't have to touch the raw chicken. You just throw the parchment paper to the side, and you're ready to rock and roll. Okay, for the chicken Francese, you're gonna need a dredging station of flour, composed of flour and beaten eggs. You want to season both things because we like flavor. I use my homemade seasoning. You could use just salt and just pepper if you want to. I do salt on the side because my homemade seasoning does not have salt because I like to control the amount of salt that goes into my food. For your skillet, you're gonna need a large skillet with some butter. You do equal parts butter and olive oil. 2 tablespoons of each is the perfect amount. And this is what you're gonna cook your chicken in. Now the size of the chicken, it's pretty big, right? So I'm not gonna cook all 4 in one go. It's gonna overcrowd the pan. The chicken's not gonna develop any color. And we are not Papa Saling this thing and flipping it 40 million times. We're gonna put it in there once and then just flip it when needed. Do you know what I'm saying? Do not overcrowd the pan. If you know, you know. And if you know, I love you for it. Okay, just give the flour a little mix and then just whisk your eggs. Take each piece of chicken breast and dust it into the flour. I do it all at once. I do all the flour portion at once. And I don't know if you can see on my chicken, but I have seasoned it because I like every single layer of my dish to be perfectly seasoned. Add it in there and then I'll season that side next. You just dredge it into the flour, and the flour is there so that the egg adheres to it. That's the goal of the flour. The oil and butter mixture is coming to temperature perfectly. You want this over about medium heat. I'm gonna do 2 at a time so that you can see, because that's all I'm gonna fit in there, because I really don't like overcrowding a pan. You dip it into the egg, and this is the difference between the Francese and a scallopine or a piccata. It's the opposite. And then you add it in. And you're gonna cook this until it's just about cooked all the way through, okay? So for this thickness, I would say about 3 minutes or so per side. Just wanted to show you what they look like when you flip them. They'll just have a really beautiful golden brown color. What I like to do when I flip my last batch is I like to take some slices of lemon and I just add them right in, and they kind of start to caramelize around the edges a little bit. I mean, listen, you don't have to. It's just nice. It looks nice in the final presentation. You know what I mean? I'm just gonna let those cook on that side for about 3 minutes or so. Remove them to a plate, and then we make our sauce. I want you to see the bottom of the pan, all of those browned bits and that browned butter. That's part of the sauce. That's what makes it so delicious. You're gonna add your stock along with some wine, along with the juice of a half of a lemon. And you're going to cook this until it reduces by half which will take just, a few minutes, and it will be delightful. And then we'll finish it with just a tiny bit of butter, some fresh parsley. I'm not adding any salt to this because the chicken stock is quite salty, and remember, every single layer of our dish is salty. But I want to show you what I want you to do before I toss that butter out. Before I toss that flour out. I want you to take a piece of butter and I want you to coat it into the flour. And I want you to just set it aside because that's how we're going to finish the sauce, and that's how we thicken it. That's how we kind of bring it together. And then we add the chicken back in for the last 2 minutes and it's perfection. I'm going to go ahead and chop up some fresh parsley and it's done. That's good enough for me. I'm just going to go ahead and add the butter. Once that starts to melt, it's not going to have any clumps in there because that butter and the flour will just kind of melt into something wonderful and delicious. Add your chicken back in. Let all of this cook together and bubble together a few minutes. And then we finish with some parsley. I really want the chicken to absorb that delicious sauce. Once it's done, I'll show you what it looks like, and then we dig in. That is done. Sauce has reduced. I'm going to turn it off. I'm going to go ahead and just add my parsley right in. And then remember the lemons? I'm just going to tuck those all around, and it just makes a really pretty presentation. Sure, you can just slice up some lemons and throw them in there. Absolutely. I just find that these just look a bit better, in my humble opinion. And that is, to me, making my mouth water. That's perfection. You've got to serve this with some kind of something soft, whether it be a little polenta, whether it's a little mash. I don't really care as long as you serve it with something, because the sauce is, look at the sauce. The sauce is not thin, flavorless, with no color. It is luscious and it's glorious and it's got deep color, which means lots and lots of flavor. It's got browned butter in it. It's got all the drippings left over. It's reduced. It has great texture. It's making my mouth water. That's the chicken Francese that I want. That's the chicken Francese I deserve. And that's the chicken Francese you deserve as well. Gotta have that sauce. Gotta have that sauce. It literally like melts in your mouth. It's perfection. Go to laurainthekitchen.com for the written recipe. Oh, I'll see you in the next one. Mwah. Oh my goodness.